And with us right now, we've got the one, the only, Tommy Breedlove. And Tommy, you are a Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling author. Your new book is, I was going to say flying off the shelves, but it's definitely flying through the distribution channel, the alternate distribution channels right now. So congratulations on the book launch. And you are you're found on the web at tommybreedlove.com. And you are a mindset, how do you describe it?
So, business mindset and relationship coach. I used to just be all things business and money, and then I realized people need just as much stuff related to their mindset, relationships as well. That was 100%. So, yeah, super excited about that. And I, before all this stuff started hitting, I was also a featured keynote speaker at a lot of places. But you're absolutely right. It was flying off the shelves and off the airports, and then they closed all those shelves and airports. But we're still super excited that my book, Legendary, is a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. It's been humbling, and I'm very grateful for that. Very proud of the book. Yeah.
So as a very accomplished speaker, and I know you've done some big gigs, how did you, I guess the first question is like, how did you create that?
This whole movement, everything I've created over the past 5 years, fortunately fell into my lap. I'm one of those people that I found my calling through demand and need. And so I was in the financial consulting world for 20 years. I was a senior partner at a very big firm. I was an equity holder, board of director meeting, but I went through this massive transformation in my life at the age of 36. And I transformed myself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And when that happened, literally all of these executives, corporate entrepreneurs, people started reaching out to me and said, look, man, you didn't give up your ambition. You didn't give up your drive. How did you do it? I need help. Can you sit down and help me? And so about the 20th person that asked, I'm like, this is a career. And these tools that I started giving them and these systems that I had implemented in my life started working for them. I was like, not only is this a business, this is a process, a book, and a system that really works if people really want to really build their financial, their mindset, their business muscles. This is the system that worked for me. And so that's how all that happened. And as I started, and when we created this book and this playbook and started running masterminds, retreats, and doing just basic podcasts and just other local speaking, people started really digging the message. And then all of a sudden I was asked to speak at Toyota. And then all of a sudden I was asked to speak at all these different places, because this is a universal message. I mean, we all want to be successful in life. We all want to be fulfilled and happy in life, but we also want intimate relationships with our friends. And we want to minimize these demons we have in our head that says we're not good enough, right? Because we all have them. And so I think what's been best for me is everything that I write about, talk about, or coach about, or even in a group setting, it's all from the heart, and it's all proven systems of things that worked in my life and now has worked in countless other lives. I think when you speak from the heart, you speak from purpose, and you're coming from a place that you absolutely believe everything that's coming out of your mouth, and I do, because this is a calling for me. And at first it was an anger for me, because I saw so many ambitious, driven people in the chase of more, and more is important. I'm the first person to tell you that money and more is important, but not at the cost of everything else. I'm one of those people that you can believe, I believe you can have it all. And so that's how it all happened for me.
So how someone might say, why does mindset really matter? Isn't it just mechanics? Can't I just listen? It's, in the financial services industry, for example, it's just me picking up the phone more times and calling more people and go through more numbers.
Well, it could be, but if you don't believe in what you're saying, it could be statistics. I mean, statistics only get you so far, brother. Mechanics only get you so far. And selling only gets you so far. If you don't, mindset to me is 100% self-belief, self-respect, and this is going to sound a little woo-woo, unconditional love for yourself and your product. But it's not woo-woo, brother. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in what you're selling, and you don't believe in the why you're selling it, the numbers won't matter at the end of the day. And someone could do a whole lot less calling, a whole lot more just one-on-one building relationships. You and I talked about this earlier today. The more you care about the other person you're talking to on the other side, and here's the thing I believe is you can pick up the number, you can pick up and just call. But if you sell from the heart and you sell something you truly believe in that provides value to the world, people are going to tell your story for you. And I've grown this practice in this speaking movement as much organic as I have through anything on the podcasting, social media, and in agency world. I think it's not a numbers game. I think it's a heart game, a relationship game, and a passion game. That's what I believe.
Yeah. So I can't help but notice some books that you have on your shelf behind you. I see one called Legendary. I don't know if you can spot that one.
Yeah, that one. Is it noticeable?
I love it.
And I have one right here too, brother.
Oh, good. We're going to get into the book in just a second, but one other book on your shelf caught my eye, and I recognize the spine. It's The Fountainhead. Yeah. So have you, for someone who doesn't know what the book is about or who Ayn Rand is, how does that figure into, how would you describe kind of, some of that philosophy when it comes to mindset? So
to me, mindset, you can either live in a fear-based mindset or a positive mindset. You can live in I'm a victim and the world is against me mindset, or I've got this abundance, there's enough for everybody, and I believe in myself and I'm going to do this. And those are muscles. Those are physical muscles, just like you would train they're mental muscles, just like you would train your physical muscles, and there's work you can do every day. So Fountainhead, and I'm going to throw another one that's right behind me. It's you can't see it because my chair's in the way. It's Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, that's my book.
To me, Atlas Shrugged is the number-1 fiction book that's ever been written, and it's been the number-1 topic of conversation since we've been in this pandemic. This COVID thing is. It talks about the mindset of, if you do the right things, you have the right work ethic, you believe in the right things, you believe in people, and you believe in hard work, and you believe in, and I'm just going to say it, this person, the writer Ayn Rand, she was a Russian who lived through World War II, oppression of every kind. I also believe she was Jewish. And so she was getting persecuted in every form. And then she came to America and saw how brilliant, how beautiful that capitalism and freedom and choice and free will and democracy and republics really are. And it changed her mindset about the world because she saw what the other looked like. She saw what horrible totalitarianism and socialism and the things that happened in Nazi Germany. She saw it all from a firsthand experience. And so from her belief system, what she witnessed, and in this society, you can either be a taker or a contributor. And it's a utopian world. It's actually just a beautiful story. It's a big book, but both Fountainhead was her starting, right? Mm-hmm. But Atlas Shrugged was her masterpiece.
Right.
My favorite character in the history of the world, it's a fictional character, is Hank Rearden of Rearden Steel. Actually, this is how bad it is. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You brought it up. Look at that. This is not a real company or a real person. But
so for those who are listening to the podcast, you can watch my video with Tommy. You just go to our YouTube channel. You just go to upmyinfluence.com in the lower left-hand corner. You'll see a link to our YouTube channel, and you can see exactly what Tommy was holding up. And he actually had the mug.
That said Rearden Steel, which is a fake company with the character Hank Rearden. But, Hank was all about, he had the mindset of people will do the right thing. People who believe in hard work, good integrity, high values, who are not takers, who are not victims, who are not martyrs, who do not blame the world, but who pick up their big boy pants, put them on, walk forward, and contribute to society in the best way they can, that the world takes care of itself. And I know it's a little bit utopian, but to me, the values within that book is everything I stand for, everything the businesses I represent stand for, and everything the clients I represent stand for, because we're contributors, we're givers, we're service people, we're not takers and victims. And so that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I think that would be, someone might misinterpret that and say, well, you're just being selfish if you're only concerned about yourself. It's not that at all.
No, absolutely not. I'm one of those big believers, Josh, is that we have to serve ourselves first so that we can love and serve others better. We don't do any good in the world if we're broke, if we're not contributing, we're not getting up in the morning and working on ourselves. I'm talking about working on ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and really preparing ourselves to be the best. Read everything we can. Gratitude, meditation, prayer, daily readings, whatever it is for you. that you get up every day, you invest in yourself, you work on yourself, and then we get up and we go to work and or we go to our companies and we contribute the best we can. And so to me, it's all about giving, providing value, and stepping forward. And I'm a big free will person. I'm a big freedom person. I'm a big capitalist type person. And so I believe we have the best system of government on earth, and I'm very protective of it. And I'm just not into the handout thing. I'm into the more, let's protect those who need it, right? But then let's the rest of us who don't need protection, let's move forward and contribute and serve society in the best way that we can.
I know the quote popularized by Marianne Williamson, your playing small does not serve the world.
Indeed, so much. And there's just so much, how does playing small, or how does being scared, or how does any, the word impossible shouldn't exist. And I hate the word should, by the way, I said should there.
Right,
the word should and impossible do not need to exist, because people 100 years ago looked up at the moon and said, I want to go there. And they went there. And so there's nothing that's impossible. There's nothing that's playing small. There's nothing that being fear-based will ever do for you. But it's not a light switch though, brother. We all have our fears. We all have our insecurities. We all have that voice in ourselves that we're not good enough. And that's why we got to do the daily work on our minds and our hearts to develop that unconditional love and belief in ourselves, develop that self-respect, and to minimize that voice in our head, and to just, I would say, F the fear and move forward.
Which, and listen, I mean, it's a horrible situation that we're the globe is experiencing right now. What, if you were, in many ways we can just kind of guess at this point. But if you were to look into your crystal ball and imagine how the world will improve as a result of this experience, what are some things that you might be thinking about?
The first thing I'm seeing is collaboration from countries that would have never collaborated with each other before. It's been amazing to see China and Russia send us technology, send us manufactured supplies, the ventilators and other things that they're not using right now that we need. I think you're seeing collaboration of scientists around the world. I think you're seeing efficiencies. People thought all of business would shut down and collapse. It certainly has not done that. You're seeing how quickly and innovatively we went virtual in so many of our businesses. I've seen a coming together of people. There's always going to be the political and the fear mongers out there, but I've seen a coming together of people. I think people are being more innovative than they ever have. I think we're saying the word social, what's the word we're saying? Social distancing. I actually think we're physical distancing, but I think we're coming together more socially connected. I think, but with our text, with our phone, with our Zooms, that like what we're doing right now, I think people are becoming more connected. I think they're becoming more compassionate. I think we're getting more innovative. And I think we also realize how critically important it is for us to step in and step up in our times of need, and don't take everything for granted. I think, freedoms and health and things that we take for granted every other day, I think now we're looking at it with more gratitude. And I think the time that we can spend with each other and hug each other and touch each other, that's what we are as human beings. We want to touch, feel, and see each other. And I think we won't take that as granted as we will. And I think, honestly, we're going to get more productive. I think we're going to get more resilient. I think we're also going to get, we're going to do some things now to plan for the future that'll give us peace of mind, both professionally and personally. So I'm a glass half full type person. I see the goodness and what's going to, there's always goodness, love, and learnings out of every situation. And it will come out of this. It will. And this is a serious situation. I mean, this virus is very real and it's hurting a lot of people. And I think you're also seeing the speed at which we're trying to heal it. It's pretty overwhelming. It's pretty awesome to see.
It is, and I see a lot of this is almost like the world kind of fast forwarding 3 to 5 years on some things. I think we're kind of imminent, and just, it was interesting. I did an interview with someone about the upcoming restaurant apocalypse is what he was talking about. And he said, listen, millennials and Gen Z just don't like going to sit down restaurants like, Gen Xers and baby boomers do. And like he's like, over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see more and more like, Gen Z millennials love to just pull out their phone and order food and have it delivered. And they'd rather be set up much better in their place where they live, with the gaming and streaming and everything, and just, having everything right brought to them, as opposed to having to go out and get it. So I think in retail and certainly in food, you're seeing a lot more of this. One thing that I think too, Tommy, and kind of along this same theme that we've been talking about, is I've been really impressed with, and I have seen, and I really appreciate your take on this, is I like taking a look at moments and asking myself the question, how is this a reflection of who I am? And so I think you're seeing a lot of people, they're really showing up now. And I think they're really extolling virtues of leadership. Whereas I think you're seeing a lot of other people, and rightfully so, retracting in fear. Like, I get it. I know it sucks. If you spend a couple hours a day watching the news right now, and it's, it'll continue to improve. But right now it kind of stinks. It's scary. And it will throw you into a depression if you're focused upon all the bad things that are going on in the world, for sure.
I totally agree. And I'm not only looking at myself very heavily, and there's moments that I've had over the past 3.5 weeks where I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then I'm like, we're just going to get up. We're going to do our routines. We're going to get up. We're going to build our mind and our heart muscles. And then we're going to build our business money, and we're going to build up the people around us. We're going to show up in light of this world. And when we don't feel like it, we're still going to lead. We're still going to say, we've got this. And we're going to say, follow me. And we're going to do it with our actions. Yeah. And so I think for me, it's not only internal reflection, and it's like you said, it's hard not to be scared. The news makes money off fear and division. They want us divided, and they want us scared. And they are making hand over fist on advertising clicks like they've never made it before. That's what they do. And so in our social media, it preys on our envy and jealousy, right? And so you're getting hit from all stages of the world. So right now, for me, it's not just an internal reflection of look in and how am I leading? How am I showing up for my businesses? How am I showing up for my clients? How am I showing up in these virtual conferences and podcasts? Because I think we need to be lights in the world, because there is people who are spreading darkness, and some people, it's not their fault. But at the same time, I'm also really looking at teams, my friends, my network, and how you do anything is how you do everything. And in difficult times, if you go into a state of victimhood or blame or political dissension or spewing anger and hate into the world, I'm watching that, because I don't know. I mean, I've seen some very healthy, productive people turn into some horrible things lately.
Yeah.
And I'm really watching that. I'm like, is this someone I want in my circle? Is this someone I want in my community? And I'm really looking at that right now. And I want people who run to the fire, not away from the fire. And I definitely don't want people who throw people into the fire.
Yeah.
So I'm really not only looking internally, but I'm looking externally as well right now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to name names here, but there is a kind of an element of the internet marketing world that I think is I think is rightfully really suffering right now. And it's the element that is all about, just kind of tricking people through a sales funnel, and it's about numbers, and it's about just, X number of ads equal X number of conversions, and just it's so impersonal, it's so cold, it's calculated, and I don't have a philosophical problem with it, but I do. I appreciate everyone's desire to make money, but for me, I've been philosophically opposed to that, because I believe that the future is in authentic relationships. And if you can still maintain relationships on a grand scale, and you can to a degree systematize relationships where people don't feel that they're being depersonalized, they feel like they can still connect with you. That is the path forward for leaders today.
I think 100%, and I'll say it into my world too, into the coaching, the public speaking, the writing world, and there's a lot of us out there, and there's a lot of good out there. But I'm seeing it, there's a lot of people that I watch too, and I do have philosophical differences, because I want to be different, because I don't want to fear and shame people into going into coaching or seeking self-help or development in whatever phase of their life. I've heard people say, well, you're just going to be broke the rest of your life then. Well, that's shame and fear, and that's not what people need. They need a relationship. They need someone walking next to them. They don't need a guru in front of them or a psychologist behind them. They need someone walking with them step by step through this journey. I've been there. I've been through this, still struggle with that. And hey, we get through this together. And that's relationship. That's honesty. That's vulnerability. And that's authenticity. So you're exactly right.
So Tommy, you're a successful speaker, and obviously, we will have events again, but I think it'll be a little bit different. What do you think about the speaking world?
I think it will be different. I think it'll be different, but I think people still seek connection. And I think when people feel safe, people like conferences. There's something about seeing a band live as opposed to, when you feel the energy, whether it's a speaker or an artist or a band or just a great CEO or whatever or a basketball game. There's something about seeing it live. There's an energy level. Virtually, we can get about 70% there, especially with TV screens. But there's something about being in person. So I think it will come back. And I think humans crave that connection. I think we crave that tribal feel too, especially with a great speaker or band or something like that. Yeah. However, I've already been an attendee of 3 virtual conferences that were going to be live. And I've also been asked to keynote or be a part of or be a contributor to certain that we're going to be live that are now virtual. And we can still communicate, we can still lead, we can still get our message out there, we can still do it virtually. I think it will change, but I think it won't change so much. I think we'll be very flexible with it. If something happens, we go to this. If something happens, we go to that. Whereas everything was canceled, then we figured out what we're going to do. So I think it will change. I think the world's going to change. I really do. I think the world's going to change. I think we're going to be just like 9/11. Every time you fly now, you feel the effects of 9/11. I think there's going to be things in the speaking and when we all get together in groups or at restaurants or just in life, you're going to see the subtle changes of this COVID corona thing from A to Z. But I still think we're going to get together. I still think we're going to go to ball games and football games and conferences. But I think we're just going to be a lot more careful. So I'm hopeful about the future. But virtual, you can do anything virtually now, anything. So it's pretty amazing that where we're going. And like you said, we're seeing things exponentially faster than we would have. I think the innovation has just been amazing.
Yeah. So your book, Tommy, Legendary, talk about the journey that people will go through when they read that book.
Yeah. So I'll tell you why I called it Legendary is in a world of constant self-promotion. And we talked about that a little bit on this show. If we call ourselves legendary, people laugh us out of the room. So legendary is something that society, our communities, our families, and our tribes give to us. And you can either be an amazing legend or a horrible legend. You can be an MLK and Gandhi of the world, or you can be the terrible people that we all know their names as well. And so for me, legendary takes you on this holistic journey of everything from finding your purpose, to reconquering your time, to building toward financial confidence and freedom. And then it takes a turn. It talks about how do we build our inner circles and our networks. And then it goes into mastering our mindsets and developing unconditional love for ourselves so that we can have true intimacy with our significant others, our families, our friends, our networks. And finally, it finishes up with the power of choice and never giving up. So it's a journey that I went through for about 7 years in my life, to where from happiness to fulfillment to peace of mind to professional success to financial success, I saw it work in my life 10x. And it's a combination of coaching and psychology and books and mentors and masterminds that I was a part of, all put into one very simple. And one thing I'm proud of is everybody says it's simple read. It's a fun read, it's a short read, and it's executable. And so to me, it's how do we leave this world better than we found it? And then we die without regrets. And then when we finally move on, and that's one thing we all have in common, is we're all going to move on, is that we will be remembered as legends and in all the right ways. You don't have to be rich or famous to be a legend, but you can be a legend in your own communities, your own tribes, your own families, and your own businesses. And that's what this is a playbook for. So I'm super proud of it.
And you've made it really easy for people like, I wonder if I'd like this book. Well, you can find out because you have a website you set up where you give away the first 2 chapters, and that'll certainly give you a feel for what's to come.
Yeah, so TommyBreedlove.com/gifts there's 3 things we give out. We give out our Legendary Life Plan, which is a 1-page document about how I live my life, how I build my mindset, how I get ready for the day, and how I conquer the day from power to time to everything else. It's a 1-page document for you to build your own. And then I also provide you with my purpose exercise. And what I mean by that is I give you my purpose statement and the formula, how I found my purpose in life, and ask you to do the same. And what I used to not tell people that I'm telling people now, 3 days later, you get 2 free chapters of the book along with the beginning of the book. So you get the preface, the foreword, my story, and then I give you the financial freedom / confidence chapters, as well as the mastering your mindset chapters. And those come 3 days later to you. And it's just something free for you to get the flavor of the book, the simplicity of the book, the funness of the book. I don't know if that's a word, funness, but I like it. I'm from the South. So I'm from Georgia, so I can say funness.
Right.
And so to see if you dig it. And if you don't dig this book, find a book that you do dig, whether it's Think and Grow Rich, Atlas Shrugged. The One Thing. There's so many great pieces of work out there. And now's the time to lead, to grow, to read, to whatever you're missing in your life. If it's financial confidence or mastering your mindset, or you're having a problem with your relationship, now's the time to do the hard work, dig in and learn so that we can come out of this thing better than we were. And I think Legendary is a really simple way to do that. And I'm very, very proud of it.
All right, www.tommybreedlove.com/gifts. You get all the gifts that Tommy talked about. And Tommy, again, thank you so much. Great conversation. I love chatting with someone. We got that kind of that similar mindsets. And of course, now we've learned that we have a similar taste in authors as well.
It's so amazing that I had this coffee cup, which no one could see on the actual audible portion, but the Reardon Steel coffee cup right next to me when you talked about Ayn Rand's. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Tommy Breedlove, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Josh, I'm grateful for you, brother.